Okay, so I love Peter Capaldi's Doctor. He might actually be my favourite incarnation. I know that's a really hot take, though I will admit that the writing in his seasons was a little bit hit or miss. Most people I know who are fans of Tennant and Smith really dropped off during Capaldi's run, and I think that's a real shame. Peter Capaldi's 3 seasons gave us an old, grumpy, blunt, reflective, and pragmatic characterization of the Time Lord, being able to hide his true emotions to make really hard decisions that were sometimes seen as ruthless but necessary.
Those people down there, they're never small to me. Don't make assumptions about how far I will go to protect them, because I've already come a very long way.
He harkens back to the first Doctor, coming off as a bit blunt and rude at first, but deep down, he's got a heart of gold. His relationship with Clara Oswald is a large focus of his first 2 seasons, as we see her slowly break down the Doctor's new tough exterior, allowing his true, selfless and caring nature to shine through.
Do you think I care for you so little that betraying me would make a difference?
And by the end of his run, we see him as he truly is, a kind old man trying his best to help anyone he can, even if that'll cost him his life, which indeed it does.
If I run away today, good people will die. If I stand and fight, some of them might live, maybe not many, maybe not for long, but it's the best I can do. So I'm going to do it, and I will stand here doing it till it kills me. Who I am. It's where I stand, it's where I fall.
Now, Capaldi is a fantastic actor. Incredible, actually. Severely underrated, in my opinion. And the writers obviously realised that he was fantastic with monologues, big chunks of text that he could make his own. And so they played on this aspect of his character. This Doctor is particularly good with his words. He can instantly take over a room, weave sentences that are beautiful, poetic in nature to intrigue and dismay his enemies. Who needs guns and weapons when you have words on your side?
I tried to talk, I want you to remember that. I tried to reach out.
Today we're going to be looking at what I believe to be his best scene, and it's found at the very end of episode 8 of season 9, The Zygon Inversion. The second episode from a 2-parter that focused on the aftermath of the events of the Day of the Doctor. This scene takes place in the Black Archives under the Tower of London. Basically, just to catch you up to speed, we're on the cusp of war. 20 million Zygons have been allowed to live in secret amongst humanity, most of which are really happy to stay disguised as human beings. However, a radical faction of Zygons want to start rebellion against the humans, led by Bonnie, who's their leader, a leader who would rather die in war than live as a human.
20 million Zygons, 7 billion humans. That's not a war you can win! Then we will die in the fire.
And she's actually shapeshifted into Clara Oswald. Now in this scene, there are 2 boxes, both with 2 buttons, truth or consequences, and they do various things.
One of those buttons will destroy the Zygons, release the imbecile's gas. The other one detonates the nuclear warhead under the Black Archive. One of those buttons will unmask every Zygon in the world. The other one cancels their ability to change form. It'll make them human beings forever.
And so, the Doctor has the leaders of both factions in one room, both a button press away from mass destruction and panic. So what does he do? He starts to talk.
Hi! Hello! Hello!
Stop this place. Let me take both of these boxes away. We'll forgive. We'll forget. And the ceasefire will stand.
He opens up with his argument. He wants them both to step away from the boxes, forgive and forget, move on and keep the peace. There is an urgency to Capaldi's delivery, a plea for them to stop what they're doing. Throughout the episode, we see him comment on how humans keep the peace.
Why does peacekeeping always involve killing?
Through violence and death. But he believes that there is another way.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Make your mind up, time! One of those buttons...
As usual, this Doctor is unpredictable in the most serious of circumstances, and he weaves in and out of this satirical game show host character, leaving Bonnie and Kate really confused. Capaldi's over-the-top accent and gestures make his snap back to reality here even more poignant.
There are safeguards beyond safeguards. I did this on a very important day for me, and this ceasefire will stand.
Now, We come to a sort of back and forth between Bonnie and the Doctor. She is stubborn and defiant, not budging on her position. The Doctor's weapon of choice here is blunt logic, but this proves to be ineffective against Bonnie's agenda-driven resolve.
It's not fair.
Oh, it's not fair. Oh, I didn't realize that. It was not fair. You just want cruelty to beget cruelty. You're not superior to people who were cruel to you. You're just a whole bunch of new cruel people. A whole bunch of new cruel people being cruel to some other people who'll end up being cruel to you.
So there is a change of tactic here from the Doctor. Stop making about the cause, bring it down to a more personal level.
What is it that you actually want?
War.
You can see the bewilderment on his face from this response. And so he zooms in further. He starts to break it down into more detail, asking Bonnie questions she's probably never thought about.
When you have a homeland, what do you think it's going to be like? Have you thought about it? Have you given it any consideration? Because you're very close to getting what you want.
It almost sounds like a parent talking down to a child, trying to get them to question their rash, impulsive choices. Think about the genuine outcome, the consequences of what might happen. You can hear this frustration start to boil in Capaldi's delivery. His gestures are sharp and pointed, directed at Bonnie herself, and it just brews from here.
Paint me a picture. Are you going to live in houses? Do you want people to go to work? Will there be holidays? Oh, will there be music?
These questions seem silly, and they sort of are, but it gets across the point. There is a genuine curiosity in the delivery of them. Capaldi starts to embellish, taking us on a journey with his words, painting a picture, inevitably bringing us all to the same conclusion. Bonnie isn't thinking of the long term, she's thinking about now.
Will there be music? Do you think people will be allowed to play violins? Who's going to make the violins? Oh, you don't actually know, do you? Because, like every other tantruming child in history, Bonnie, you don't actually know what you want.
Why are you still talking?
Do you see this deflection there? Bonnie doesn't address the point. She just deflects it back onto the Doctor. It's a weak tactic. It shows that she's on the back foot.
And we're off! Fingers on buzzers! Are you feeling lucky? Are you ready to play the game?
Back into this satirical character, being whimsical, satirical, making light of the situation, until he crashes back down to reality with force and anger.
Because it's not a game, Kate!
We can see the rage and frustration of this regeneration come out in one paragraph of pain and torture, pulling from his own experience, his own regrets.
This is a scale model of war! Every war ever fought right there in front of you!
He's surrounded by fools, idiots who think death will bring peace, who think the solution to this problem is war, and he knows where that will lead.
Listen to me, listen.
Notice the physicality of genuine worry and concern here. And then we see the Doctor's unique and caring nature come out. He holds his hand out to Bonnie. He is putting in all of his effort to break through to her. He leans down to her, tries to pull her up to his level. He understands who she is and why she is doing what she is doing. But she decides to bite back, and in doing so, unknowingly tickles the dragon's tail.
You don't understand.
I don't understand. Are you kidding me? Of course I understand. I mean, do you call this a war, this funny little thing?
We've seen the Doctor's anger and pain caused by the Time War come out a few times throughout every generation, understandably so. But I don't think it's ever been addressed in this way. Through Capaldi's performance, you can see his regrets, a glimpse of a man that we don't know. The shadows of the War Doctor seeping through. He is vulnerable and open, sharing his own experience, showing Bonnie that he and her are not so different. But we see that his response to all of this is the opposite of hers.
And you know what you do with all that pain? You hold it tight till it burns your hand. And you say this: no one else will ever have to live like this. No one else will ever have to feel this pain. Not on my watch.
the conclusion of a truly selfless man with nothing but care and love for others. The man that stood tall at the start of the scene, the authority of the rune playing around, is now deflated, small, vulnerable. He has brought himself down to Bonnie's level. He shows her what war can do. He shows her that he knows better. He smiles at her, and in his face you can see his age, his pain, but also his hope and his belief in her to make the right decision. And through this, he gets to her.
No one should have to think like that. And no one will. Not on our watch. Gotcha.
The first time I watched this scene, it really stunned me. I rewatched it again and again, and to this day I always return to it. I think the writing is brilliant, but more importantly, the performance is magnificent. Capaldi moves through so many emotions and expressions throughout this scene. He conveys the Doctor's vast intelligence, his wisdom built up over thousands of years and multiple lives. He conveys his PTSD, his anger of losing those he's loved, his frustration with those who cannot see what he can see. And he conveys his ability to love, care, forgive, and see the good in people. He put his heart and his soul into this scene, and I think it really shows. Say what you want about the Capaldi era of Doctor Who. Complain about Stephen Moffat. Praise Stephen Moffat. Criticise the writing, the stories, whine about the special effects. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. That's what makes art so great. But if you ever start to crap on Capaldi's Doctor, then I actually think you're objectively wrong. He brings an interesting, fantastical, lovable, and believable characterization of the Time Lord that we love so much. This scene is only one of many moments that show his ability to capture your hearts and minds with nothing but his presence and his words. And I freaking love it. Thank you very much for listening. I wanted to talk about this scene for ages, so the fact that I've been able to, I love that. So cool. I would love to do more stuff on this, so if this video does well, I will jump into Capaldi's era maybe a little bit more. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and in the comments below, I'd love to know where Capaldi ranks on your top 10 Doctor list, or top 13, 14 Doctor list. Just to see where he is. I'd love to hear the general consensus of this guy's performance and this guy's character. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!